Hayes, happy Monday.
Well, happy Monday to you, John.
I appreciate you coming on board. I'm with Hays Waldrop of IHES, founder and CEO. Hayes, you help companies and healthcare executives come together and talk about how to move things forward progressively and those kind of things. I can't imagine a better conversation to have with somebody about 2020. As you've looked at 2020, right, and as you've worked with CEOs and helped coach them, and bring them together to understand how to manage forward, talk about some lessons learned this past year.
Well, to your point, 2020 has been, it's been a difficult time for everybody involved, obviously, right? The provider, the supplier, everybody. I think the only people that have made money this year have been the payers, and they've done pretty well there. But to your point, bringing them together is a great time for them to listen, learn, and engage with each other, which there's a lot to share. There's a lot of, best practices and things that they can learn from each other. But frankly, it's also another good way for companies to be able to do a couple things, to get access to the right decision maker. Because frankly, because of COVID, you've got a lot of fractured work teams. They're working from home. They're not seeing anybody new. And so we allow that access to decision makers, to CEOs. Also, clearly, you're being able to test ideas, run things by them to see if they like it, if it resonates, if it sticks. And so it's been a time, unlike anything. I've been doing this for 18 years, never seen a year, nothing anywhere near this. So I'm hopeful that 2020 brings a whole much brighter future with the vaccine. Looks very promising. I think in the next 3 to 4 weeks, we're going to have it on the ground for a lot of our healthcare providers. But yes, 2020 has not been a lot of fun, if you ask me.
I think a lot of people would agree with you. On Q4, how have you seen health organizations look at Q4 or looking at Q4 this year differently than maybe they ever have?
That's a really good question. I think the primary difference is going to be, their budgets, their capital allocations. Obviously, most hospital systems now are about 80 to 100% back to normal with their volumes. However, obviously we've got surges in parts of the country. They're starting to shut down those elective surgeries again, which clearly is impacting revenue. And all hospitals lost roughly 100 days of revenue earlier in the year, March, May, June, in that area. So capital budgets are at our premium, right? So they're not all on the calendar year, obviously, but most of them are. And so that's going to impact their ability to, engage that capital with companies or with building projects and those things. So yes, I think that's the biggest thing in moving forward. It's going to change, their purchasing and their strategic initiatives because either lack of capital, maybe their bond ratings have gone down, maybe they're looking at different strategies, maybe, doing more with virtual care and those type of things, and maybe not needing as much square footage as they have in the past. So yeah, I mean, it's definitely impacted them. And some would argue in a good way. From the standpoint, they're perhaps getting more streamlined and doing things that their true core business. So yeah, it's definitely impacted them.
To think about streamlining, let's move into 2021 planning, right? We may all plan completely differently than we maybe ever have because of the planning we did in 2019. Kind of got thrown out with the bathwater, right? In March. How have you seen and led people, companies to think about 2021 planning and what are the differences maybe than have been in years past?
Well, I mean, that's kind of the $64 million question. I mean, obviously until we get truly over COVID, and I'm hopeful, I'm optimistic that, end of first quarter, things will be somewhat normal, particularly once those healthcare providers get vaccinated. They're going to be a little bit more open maybe than before. But to the companies that sell products, service solutions to them, I mean, it's a different world. Number one, just the access to them, to those hospitals, it's changed. And I think, probably going to change moving forward, even though we'll probably be traveling more and, more airfare and that type of thing will be more common again. Hospitals they're kind of like dead set on the virtual side, at least on the initial side. But if you talk to a company about, how do you plan, with the new things of pricing transparency, that's probably going to be happening in the next, probably second or third quarter of next year, which basically you're trying to align Medicare payments more in line with commercial pay. That can have a massive, change to hospitals. In other words, where they used to make 3x on a commercial payer as compared to, a Medicare, that might go down to 1.5x. Margins are going to be compressed, and that'll ultimately go back to the hospital, to the suppliers. They're going to have to deliver better products, cheaper, faster. I mean, that's just the way it is. And I think that's going to be a big deal in 2021. I think that's going to be talked a lot more than a lot of people are talking about it yet. So, and then of course, we don't know what's going to happen with the Biden administration, how that's going to change, how they implement Medicare, Medicaid, all those different things. So we've got a lot ahead. A lot of 2021's got a lot of unknowns. But clearly, if you're a company out there, you better get your pencil right and create a better solution at a lower price. That would be my solution number one, or what I'd have to say.
Hays, it's been great. I appreciate you very much. Thank you for hanging out with us this afternoon on a snowy afternoon here in Nashville, and happy holidays.
Thank you very much, John. I appreciate it. This was fun. Thank you very much. Take care.
Talk to you soon.